Good morning. I'm Wendy Pepler, and we're just waiting for the last people to sign up. Then we will start with the webinar. Please show me hands. We are ready to start. It seems as everybody has signed up. Please show me your hands if you can hear me. Okay, it seems as if everybody is there. We can start with the webinar. Before we start, I'd just like to point out a few things for you. I'm Wendy Pepler. I'm Chief Education Specialist for English Home Language. And let's cover some of the basic things. I think many of you have already watched some webinars, so you are up to date with what is happening. But for the new people, if you are struggling to hear me, make sure your audio is on and your speaker volume is turned up. You will automatically be muted by the organizer when joining the session. Should you have any questions, you can ask your question in the question box below on your right and raise your hand. I will only give this opportunity at the end of the session. To raise your hand, click on the icon on your dashboard below or on your right. Once we have completed the presentation, you will be able to download this presentation and additional resources in the handout box below on your right. Please put up your hands again. Let me see whether you are following what I am saying. Right. You will also find all this information in the question box below on your right. Remember at the end of the session to send your questions. I just want to point out that these webinar slides will be made available on YouTube at the following address. I'm going to give you a few minutes time to write down this address. Right, we are now ready to carry on. The following poem that I'm going to discuss today is one of the poems that are scheduled for term 2. I hope you have all started studying your literature for term 2. Just a reminder that you are writing your exam on the entire book of The Great Gatsby, and that you should have read most of it by now and have studied the notes on it. Let's start with a poem. I always tell everybody when we are going to read a poem, we look at the title of the poem first, and that will give us an idea of what the poem is about. The following poem, Lament for a Dead Cow by Francis Carey Slater. If we look at the title of the poem, lament, the word lament, what does it mean? It means a passionate expression of sadness. And in this case, Lament for a Dead Cow is a passionate expression of sadness for somebody or something that it has lost. In this case, the lament to a dead cow. This would mean, or possibly mean, that this cow was very dear to the family. Sorry, I'm just trying to get rid of this. The slide doesn't seem to want to carry on. Just a moment. Sorry, I can't get the slide to carry on. I'm having a hiccup here. I can't seem to get the slide to carry on to the next slide. Okay, sorry about that, but we are on the way again. So I'm first going to read the poem to you, Lament for a Dead Cow. I'd like you to concentrate and think that this is a family or a person who is singing praise to the death of this cow. And he's giving a description of the cow, and I'd like you to listen to the descriptions. This is a chant by a Xhosa family on the death of Wetu, the only cow. Sialila, Sialila, inkomo yetu ifile. Beautiful was Wetu as a blue shadow that nests on the grey rocks about a sun-baked hilltop. Her coat was black and shiny, like an isipingo berry. Her horns were as sharp as the horns of the new moon that tosses aloft the evening star. Her round eyes were as clear and soft as a mountain pool, where shadows dive from the high rocks. No more will Wetu banish teasing flies. With her whistling tail, no more will she face yapping curs with lowered horns and bewildered eyes. No more will her slow shadow comfort the sunburnt veld and her sweet lowing. Delight the hills in the evening, that the fountain that filled our calabashes has been drained by a thirsty sun. The black cloud that brought us white rain has vanished. The sky is empty. Our kraal is desolate. Our calabashes are dry, and we weep. As I said at the beginning, this is a sad song about the death of a loved one, the death of a cow. Lament signifies the fact that the cow was very dear to the family. Wetu was the only cow that this family owned, so this was an extremely big loss for them. The poet gives a description of the cow, compares the physical features of the cow with the features from her natural environment. A list of the things Wetu used to do will never be able to be done again. The poet finally gives the cause of Wetu's death, the drought. If we look at line 1, Sialila, inkomo yetu ifile. Translated, this means, we weep, our cow is dead. Line 2, beautiful was Wetu, as a blue shadow. As you know by now, if we see the word as or like, we are comparing something to something else. And if the words as and like are there, it will signify that it is a simile. In this case, Wetu's color is being compared to the blue color of a shadow on the rocks. As you will see in line 3, that nests on the gray rocks. Now, can a shadow really nest? In this case, shadow is being given human qualities, which means that it is a personification. It is being personified. The way the shadow nests on the grey rocks is compared to the way a bird nests. It evokes a feeling of coziness. It is one with nature. It could also be describing Wetu's fertility. Line 4, about a sun-baked hilltop. If we think of the word sun-baked, you will think that it is warm if you are tanning in the sun. Sun-baked, in this case, then describes the warmth and glow of the hilltop. Lines 5 to 6. Her coat was black and shiny, like an isipingo berry. Once again, we have the word like. Something is being compared. It is a simile. In this case, her coat is being compared to an isipingo berry. Now, an isipingo berry is black, healthy, and shiny. Line 7 to 8. Her horns were as sharp as the horns of the new moon. Once again, we have a simile, indicated by the word as. Her horns, or the shape of the horns, is compared to the shape of the new moon that tosses aloft the evening star. Can the horns toss aloft the evening star? Once again, her horns are being given human qualities, and we have personification. The moon is described as tossing the evening star into the sky, which it cannot do. See the human quality. Lines 9 to 10. Her round eyes were as clear and soft as a mountain pool. Once again, we have the words as. We once again have a simile. This simile compares the eyes of the cow to a pool of water on the mountain, the clearness and soft color of the water in the pool. Line 11, where shadows dive from the high rocks. Can shadows really dive from the high rocks? Once again, human qualities, personification. The reflection of the shadows and the movement of the water looks like a person diving. Line 12. No more will Wetu banish teasing flies. Here we have personification. The flies are described as teasing. This indicates that the flies are annoying to Wetu. Just a reminder, who is Wetu? Wetu is the cow. Line 13. With her whistling tail. The sound the tail makes with her whistling tail. When we have sounds, this is a sound device, then we are speaking of onomatopoeia, the sound, the whistling sound of the tail. Here we also have alliteration of the W with her whistling tail. This actually emphasizes the whistling sound of the tail. Lines 14 to 15. No more will she face yapping curs with lowered horns and bewildered eyes. Who yaps? What yaps? Dogs yap. No longer will the dogs bark at her. This also describes how she confronted the yapping dogs with her lowered horns. Her bewildered eyes suggest that she was afraid of the dogs. Line 16 to 18. No more will her slow shadow comfort the sunburnt veld, and her sweet lowing delight the hills in the evening. This means that nature also benefited from this cow. Her shadow brought comfort to the land. Her lowing brought delight to the hills. This is also personification. Have a look at the S sound that is being repeated. This is alliteration of the S sound, which emphasizes the beauty of the cow. Slow shadow, comfort the sunburnt veld. And there's another one, her sweet lowing. This emphasizes the beauty of the cow and the sound that she made. Line 19, the fountain that filled our calabashes. This is a metaphor. The cow is being compared to a fountain. Now, fountains usually provide water, much needed water for human survival. This emphasizes how important she was to the family. The only difference here is that water would be white, as we will see in the next lines. Water would be clear, but as we see in the next lines, this will be white. Also have a look at alliteration of the F sound. The fountain that filled emphasizes that Wetu gave enough milk to feed them. Here again, emphasizing that water would be clear, but her milk is white. Has been drained by a thirsty sun, line 20. The fountain that filled our calabashes has been drained by a thirsty sun. Can the sun be thirsty? No, again, human qualities, personification. The sun is thirsty. The drought has killed Wetu. There is no water or grass to feed on. Here we are starting to see what caused the death of the cow, namely the drought. Line 21, the black cloud that brought us white rain. This is a metaphor. Wetu is compared to a black cloud which usually brings rain. Wetu provides white milk. Line 22 has vanished. The sky is empty. The clouds have vanished. Wetu is dead. The black cloud that brought us white rain has vanished. In other words, the clouds have disappeared. The sky is empty. Wetu is dead. Please show hands that you are still hearing me. Thank you. Lines 23 to 24. Our kraal is desolate. Our calabashes are dry. Now, if we think of the lines before, the calabashes were filled with water from the fountains. Now they are dry. This again is emphasizing the drought that there is. But if we go directly back to this line, our kraal is desolate. Our calabashes are dry. Note the short statements. They contrast the rest of the poem. This emphasizes the emptiness they feel, the emptiness of the calabashes. They have no milk. Why? Because the cow is dead. Line 25, and we weep. This emphasizes the sadness, the emptiness that the family is feeling. Coming back to the word lament, they are expressing their sadness, and we weep. We weep, the repetition of the W, alliteration of the W, and we weep. I think this emphasizes how sad they feel. I know this is very short, but we cannot do more with a poem. I think we'd lose each other if we do more than one poem on a day. Just a reminder, if you have any questions, you may ask them now, and I will get back to you. You may now have time to download your handouts from the box on the at the bottom below. The organizer will help you with that. Thank you very much for attending this webinar. We will certainly have more webinars in the future. And once the literature has been discussed, which counts the most marks, I will certainly also look at language. Thank you and goodbye.